So the goal is, how much fun can you have on a $900 e-bike? So we have the Qronge Thunder E-bike. So this bike has a pretty big battery. I do kind of appreciate when a brand gives you all the parts. You don't have to spend a bunch of extra money. They said to keep the box in case anything goes wrong with it, and you can ship it out. So that brings us to, how heavy is that bike? I don't have an exact scale, but it's pretty respectable 50 to 60 pound bike, which most fat tire electric bikes are. So here's our massive accessory table. So the only thing I'm gonna hook up is the phone. First impression of the Thunder, it has a good name because it sounds like a thundering lifted truck with these tires. It's really interesting because you have so much grip with the wide tire. You can just like grab a massive handful of brake and not worry about getting pitched. So top gear. This thing instantly runs out of gears because you get going so fast. So here's the speed, 20 miles an hour. Okay, I got the seat posts dialed. I think I just misinstalled it, but I did kind of chew everything up. So let's continue on the ride. So it's definitely an all-terrain bike and go ride anywhere. So let's hit the pump track with the throttle. Oh my God. It's dangerous. So it's probably the best non-suspension bike I ever felt on the gravel. It has this really interesting sound. Sounds like marbles. Let's zoom in tight on some of the welding and the manufacturing on this bike. So let's keep in mind it costs $899. So some of the welds, we'll just say they're not the best welds, but it didn't break, and I just basically rallied it through the little bike park with its 4-inch wide 26-inch tires. The bike does brake pretty good, even though these cable actuated disc brakes and small rotors are pretty under braked considering this bike's 60-pound weight. So it's time to take this bike and have some real fun, because where I just showed you it doesn't really belong, even though it works. Hello friends, so I just drove 3.5 hours to the beach to go kite surfing, and we got the Thunder E-bike. We're gonna try it out on the beach. 3 hours on the bike rack. It's really kind of a challenging bike to carry because of the massive tires and heavy weight. So we got this prototype outfitter bike rack, and it worked pretty darn good. So let's get the 4Runner aired down and the fat tire electric bike aired down. So no press the valves on this bike. Oh boy, that's a lot of sand. So it's gonna be pretty epic for kite surfing and not very good for everything else. So let's figure out what it takes to ride this thing on the beach where it's really intense. So you kind of have to purposely seek out places to ride that bike in this car, like 4-wheel drive low, you know, for non-trail system kind of stuff. And basically it's blowing like 40 miles an hour, but let's... Now I'm on the Oregon coast, and it's just basically an abandoned coastline, probably because it's like 40-mile-an-hour wind. So I was doing a little test run because the plan was to get my kite and surfboard, ride 10 miles up the beach, kite down, get the car, and then pick the bike up. But I was having such a good time just exploring this abandoned coastline without having to walk. I just kept on going. So there's super steep sand dunes all over the place, so I tried to climb up one of them in full assistance, full throttle, and basically the bike isn't geared for climbing hills. It's more designed for riding on flat ground unless I do upgrade the gears later.
A 30-knot headwind in the sand. I only got about 7 miles and not much of the batteries left, so unfortunately I can't use it as a shuttle because I have to go all the way back to the car, suit up. I don't think it's going to make it in the headwind, but it should be super fun on the way down. Going 30 miles an hour, but once you get going 20 miles an hour, it feels like there's no wind when you're going downwind, which is kind of cool. Like right now it's 0 wind because I'm moving with the wind speed.
So I just got back from surfing and now the battery's showing quite a bit of charge. Earlier it was in the last bar, so it's a little bit interesting. So I'll take it for a little sunset cruise. It's a nice accessory from the surfing life. Have a little fat tire electrics. So it feels like I'm constantly either just have too much or too little bit of air in this. So let's just go for the super soft, like 1 PSI. Fat tire bike. Trouble. He's in trouble. And it's just about 11 o'clock. Let's see how long it takes for this thing to fully charge. 2 o'clock and it's still red. So more than 3 hours charging this. So wow, this bike was pretty extraordinarily fun, even though it was a little bit of a headache having a massive 60-pound bike on the back of the car. Kind of just spruced up the day, different types of activities. So it was like 4x4, fat tire biking, kite surfing, then fat tire biking again at sunset. So I did find a couple little quirks when it comes to the Thunder E-bike. Basically the battery gauge isn't super accurate. In the worst possible conditions ever with a 40-knot headwind in deep sand, I got about 7 miles, used the whole entire battery. Then there was 1 bar left. And then basically that 1 bar lasted the next 2 days at the beach. So take it for what it's worth. It would be really nice to have a battery gauge, but considering the price tag, I think it's pretty fair. I think there's a unique value proposition with this bike being $900 to just charge it into the saltwater. If I have a $9,000 bike, an expensive one, I would be a little bit afraid because saltwater will literally destroy anything it comes in contact with that's metal. So we got to get this thing into the hose, but in the meantime, click this video here because the bike rack I was carrying this with was extraordinarily stable.